Hi, second grade. Welcome back to week 5 of our distance learning, where we are going to work on fractions this week. So as I said previously, we're going to go pretty fast because of the fact that we have to get through a lot of material in only a couple short weeks because it's almost summertime now. So let's get started. Okay, starting off with your materials, I always tell you what type of materials you'll need. Fractions. Now, again, you don't need a printer for any of these things, but if you have access to it and you wanted to, you could use this strip if you would like. All this means is it's kind of just like a reference tool that it's kind of like a cheat sheet where it tells you, hey, I know that 2 halves make a whole. This is just a reference sheet. This isn't really like a worksheet. It's more of like, you don't really have to cut it out either. You can just use it as a reference. Like, okay, this is how many it works when we go to our worksheets. Okay, so this one we will reference possibly. I also have some like these like cube things that help me out. They're similar concept that we might use. Okay, so let's start with what is a fraction? A fraction is just a part of the whole. So if we are looking, for instance, at this is one whole circle, right? One whole circle. But does this one whole circle, can it be broken up into little pieces and be the same thing? Well, let's find out. Okay, so let's look. Here's the piece. Here's the piece. Here's a piece. Here's a piece. They gotta fit just right. Did you say that that is a fraction of the whole? This makes the same exact thing, right? They're the same circle because they fit exactly on top. But this one just uses 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces to do it. So by using 8 pieces to make the fraction, all of that means is if I said one of those 8 pieces would look like this, that would be 1/8. And we would write that like this. Now I'm just trying to explain what a fraction is. Make sure you're watching the video before this of the introduction part. It might make a little bit more sense. So that this little piece is the same thing as 1 out of 8 because it's 1 out of 8 pieces of the pie. And we'll talk about food a little bit later in our examples, but make sure this can be a very complicated concept if you overthink it and if you're not following along with me. So make sure that if you do not understand it, you seriously pause it, watch the videos, do things, and ask your teacher because this can be very confusing. This is a really important concept to be built on for 3rd grade. Okay? Moving on. Okay, so if I have one whole piece and I have 2 pieces, can these 2 pieces be the same thing as this one? Let's look. Let's see if I can attach them together. Are these the same? Yeah, they are. Well, let's try this one. What about this one? What if I have 3 pieces? Do you think the 3 pieces? These 3 pieces, do you think that they can make this one whole? They can. Look, watch. They're exactly the same. So it just means we're not making new numbers. We're not trading anything out necessarily. We're just chopping up the shape. So that's where this thing comes in. If you look on that paper, remember, see? 1, 2, 3. 3 pieces to make the whole. That means 3 out of 3. Okay. Now, let me put those away. I'm going to start off with this page. It says equal parts, so that way we can do that one easier. Now this one says equal parts are the same size and shape. So that means you can't have these two things, they can't be the same size and shape. These can't be a fraction of whole because they're not the same. You'd have to have them be the same thing. So make sure it's the same, like shape. So on here it says, this triangle is broken into 2 equal parts. So is it halves, thirds, or fourths? So if it's broken into 2 pieces, this is called halves. Can you say halves? Halves, okay. So halves is like 1/2, 2 pieces, okay? Thirds, it has the number in it, 3, right? There's 3 pieces, 3 in a whole. So if you look at this circle, that says thirds, because we're doing it into 3 equal pieces. Because we're starting off the same number at the beginning, remember? Now this one, the square, is chopped into 4 equal pieces, so that one is called fourths. See? 1, 2, 3, 4. See? 4 equal pieces. That equals the same. So that's that top section. It doesn't matter what shape it is, as long as you're working with the same type of shape in each problem. So like there can be squares that are quarters, but there also can be circles that are in quarters, or there can be triangles that are in a quarter. As long as the sizes of the pieces in that specific shape you're talking about are the same, then that's all that matters. So on number 1, it says, how many equal parts? Write the number of parts and circle halves, thirds, or fourths. Remember, halves means 2, thirds means 3, and fourths means 4s. 4 pieces, right? Okay, so if we're looking at this page, look, how many sections do we have? 1, 2, 3. So how many equal parts are there? 3. So is it halves, thirds, or fourths? Well, it's thirds, so we're going to circle thirds because there's 3 equal pieces. See? Moving on to number 2. How many equal pieces do you see? Well, 1, 2. So there's halves. So I'm going to write 2 equal parts for number 2, and I'm going to circle halves. Number 3, let's look at that one. 1, 2, 3, 4. So how many equal pieces is there? 4. So I'm going to circle fourths. See, wasn't super hard. Now, why don't you try to do 4, 5, and 6 by yourself? And let's skip on down to the problem-solving problem, and we'll try that one together, okay? So it says, draw lines to show 2 equal parts. So all 3 are different shapes, but they all can have equal parts. So for this one, we would just chop it down the middle. Doesn't have to be super perfect, but basically that's what you're talking about, right? Okay, chop this one in half and chop this one in half. And there you have it. So that's all I had to do for that one. So these worksheets go super fast because there's not that many problems on it. When you're doing like adding and subtracting, I feel like when there's more problems on the page, there's more worksheets, it's harder, but that's not the case. So back side of that worksheet. It says, draw a line or lines to show equal parts. So this first one, it says, go into fourths. That means 4 equal pieces. So let's draw it in half, and let's draw it in half again. Because that makes 4 equal pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4. See? Number 2, this says halves. Now that one looks like kind of a scary shape. If I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know. Don't panic, you got this, you're fine. So we're gonna cut it in half. That makes it half. So we're not doing fourths because it says halves on it. Now, I want you to try 3 and 4 by yourself and see if you can do it. Let's skip on down to number 5. Number 5 says, does the picture show halves, thirds, or fourths? Ooh, well, how many pieces do we have? So that means it's a half. Number 6, let's look. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, number 4, there's 4 pieces, so that has to be fourths. Good. Now, how about you try 7 and 8 by yourself? You can pause the video and then keep going whenever you're ready, okay? So let's do number 9. Draw one more line to show fourths. So this doesn't look like they're equal pieces, so what do we have to do? We have to split up this equal piece, because if we made it like this, that's not equal pieces, and that's not fourths either. So we're not going to do that, and we can only add one line. So let's split that big, huge piece in half. Make sense? 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this one, we already have 2, so 2 plus 2 equals 4. So let's just split that one in half too. See? Now how about this one? Ooh, same thing. Let's cut it in half. Make the 2 into a 4. Make sense? Now, I'm gonna move on to my next worksheet. My next worksheet is called unit fractions. Now that may sound scary. Don't freak out about it. All that a unit fraction means is just it's like one part of the whole. That's the unit you're using. Like, okay, I'm using 1/4, so I'm using fourths. Fourths are my unit fraction. I'm not using tenths when there's only 4 pieces. I'm using that, so don't stress about that, okay? So this one says, write the fraction for the shaded part of the shape. So how many pieces are shaded? 1 out of 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1 out of 4 pieces is shaded. So it's 1/4. Now, how many pieces are there in this one? 1, 2, 3. So how many pieces are shaded? 1 out of 3. So that'd be 1/3, because 1/3 just means 1 out of 3 pieces to make the whole. Now let's try 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, this one's kind of tricky. What would it be? If it's out of 5, I'm going to draw my line, and then I'm going to draw my 5. How many pieces are shaded? Just 1. So it should be 1/5. Okay? Now, let's move on to number 7, where it says color the fraction. Let's do one of those together. So if it says 1/8, what do you think 1/8 is going to be? 1 out of 8 pieces, right? So we just need to circle if there's 8 pieces already. All we have to do is just color one section in. So again, if you do not want to print this, don't print this. Just draw it on a piece of paper. It's not a big deal if it's not perfect. See, that's 1/8. That's all you have to do. Super easy. So let's move on to number 10. You guys can try the other problems yourself. What fraction of the square is each triangle? So there's a square, and there's a bunch of triangles inside of the square. What is the fraction? What fraction of the square is each triangle? So one triangle is how many of the square? Well, if it's 4 pieces, and if it's 1, it'd be 1 out of 4, which would be 1/4. Following me so far? What fraction of the rectangle is each square? So whole shape, and we've got 1, 2, 3. So 1 out of 3. That's that. So that's that worksheet. So, that's that side of the worksheet. We'll flip to the back in a second. They go pretty fast. Okay, so this side says non-unit fractions. So non-unit fractions means that it's more than 1 piece, of the fraction. So you're still saying how many out of whatever it is, because that's the whole concept of a fraction, remember, is what number out of how many pieces total. So let's do number 1. If you look closely, it looks like there's 2 pieces shaded out of 4 pieces. So 2 out of 4 pieces would be 2/4, which really is 1/2, but we're not going to write it like that. We're going to write 2 out of 4 because there's 4 pieces. Now this other one, number 2, looks kind of hard if you don't look, unless you look really super carefully, because you got to look really careful because of the way that it's printed. It's kind of dark. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the top, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's 10 total possible. So I'm going to put 10 on the bottom. And then I'm going to write how many are shaded on the top. That's what it says. So let's look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 out of the 10 are shaded. 8 out of 10. So it should be written like this. Let's do one more for that section. Okay, so be careful with these because it looks like you can't hardly see the lines. So be really careful with that, okay? So this number 3 says how many pieces are shaded. Well, let's look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are total. So we're going to write it as out of 6. So that's 6. And how many shaded? 3. So 3 out of 6. Make sense? Okay. Now, I'm going to let you do 4, 5, and 6 all by yourself and see if you can do it. Number 7, 8, and 9. Let's do 7. Where it says color to show the fraction. Now, if you don't have crayons, it's not that big of a deal. Use a pencil, use something. It doesn't really matter. I'm just using my whiteboard marker. So we already know that it's already 5th. So just asking for 2 pieces to be shaded in. So just color in 2 pieces. See? Now, again, it doesn't matter if they're like all in the same, they don't have to be touching. They just are still just colored in. So let's see if you guys can do 8 and 9 by yourself. And let's do number 10, where it says draw one line to show 2/4. So we already have a half. We got 2 pieces, right? So we can just chop it in half. So if I chop it in half, look, 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces, and there's 1, 2 that are shaded. That makes sense, right? That's so good. So that's all you had to do was just draw one line. If you can try number 11 on your own. I'm going on to my next worksheet. Next worksheet is going to be the one that says the piece of the pie one, because it's pizza. Just going to trade out. Okay, now how many of you guys like pizza? I want you to think of your favorite kind of pizza that you've ever had. And I want you to say, okay, think of whenever we're thinking fractions that you're thinking, this is my whole pie. Or remember when we put those fractions together, that was the circle? These are all pieces of my pieces of pizza, okay? So what we're trying to do is you're gonna pretend these are your favorite pieces of pizza. And it says, look at the pieces of pizza, name each fraction shown. So if you look really close, it's kind of showing through the other side, but there's this line. The line is the fraction bar. So you can put one number on top and one number below. So let's see. It says, look at the pieces of pizza, name each fraction shown. So the pieces of pizza that are left is what we got. Okay. So we got to figure out how many pieces total there would be. And then we'll go from there. So I'm going to kind of chop it up and I'm going to cut the pizza in half and see how much pizza was already ate. So does that make kind of a even part? I think it does. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, well, 4, if there's 4 on this side, then there's got to be 4 on this side. So it means it has to be out of 8 pieces. So I'll put my 8 right there. Then, how many pieces are left? 1, 2, 3. 3 eighths. Sorry. Oh, I don't know why I just erased that. Let's do the same thing for number 2. Okay, so let's cut it in half. Ooh, that one didn't really make it an even piece. So looks like I'm gonna have to try it a different way. Let's think. That's 2 pieces. Well, if I draw this, it's okay to not get it perfect the first time. I'm gonna have you guys do number 2 by yourself and see if you can figure it out. Let's move on to number 3. Look, 1, 2, 3. Well, look, there's one more piece left, so it's 3 out of 4. Let's see, let's jump to, let's go number 7. 1, 2. There's one more piece left, so it has to be 3. So it'd be 2/3. Right? Make sense? Okay. Now, I'm gonna let you guys do the piece of the pie. The rest of that on your own. If you need help, just let me know, and I'd be happy to help you. So, other side. Piece out, it says. Color each picture to show the fraction. So, it's already split. So it's easy. 2/3. So we just got to color 2 out of the 3 pieces. See? 2 out of 3. Let's go on down to 7/8. Let's do number 6. Let's do number 6, where it says 7 out of 8 pieces. So I just need to color in 1. You can see what I'm coloring. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. See? There's 7 out of 8 pieces shaded. Let's do one more on this worksheet, and then we'll go to the next one. Let's do 1/5. How many pieces do I need to shade out of 1/5? 1/5. So try the rest of them out yourself. I'm going to move on to the last one that I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to show you guys the cool game that we can play. Okay, it is called fractions of a set. So basically just meaning that it doesn't have to be a piece. It can be like, oh, I have 2/5 baseball, or 2 out of 5 baseballs, basically is what it's saying. So a fraction can name the equal parts of a set of a set or a group. So it says 2 shaded balls out of 5 balls total. So 2 shaded balls over 5 in all. 2/5 of the balls are shaded. That makes sense? So this one says, color the parts. Write the fraction for the part you color. Color 2 parts blue. Oh, I got my blue. 2 parts blue of my 6. So again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so 2 out of the 6 stars are colored. So 2 out of the 6 stars are blue. Don't stress about the color. I just had them in a marker version, so. The next one says color 3 parts green. 3 parts green. So there's 3 out of 4. So let's do it. Easy it? Can't. 1 part. 2 parts. 3 parts. 3 parts. See the 3 parts green? So 3 green balloons out of 4 balloons in all makes 3/4 of the balloons green. Now let's do the last one on the page together, and then we'll talk about the next step. 5 parts red. So we're coloring 5 of the apples red. So let's show you. See? Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 of the apples are red. So it says 5 red apples out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 5/8 of the apples are red. Make sense? Okay. I'm going to erase that. And to the other side. Fractions of a set. Now it says write the fraction of the group that is shaded. So let's look. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 3 out of 4 shaded. Okay, let's do number 2. Let's do number 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we know it's out of 6. How many shaded? 2. So try 3 and 4 by yourself. I'm jumping to number 5. It says 6/8 of the socks are red. 6/8. So 6/8 of the socks are red. So I'm going to color in 6 of the socks. There's 4, 5, 6. So see, 6/8 of the socks are red. Now, try the rest of those by yourself on that worksheet. And I'm going to move on to the game that we have. Now, I know you're going to say this is a hard thing to do. But you got this. You can fold it okay and do everything. So it's a fraction cookie catcher. So all you're going to say is you're going to pick a color. So red, R-E-D. See the ones I got options of? So I'm going to pick 5. So I'm going to go 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I'm going to pick another one. So I'm going to pick 1, and I'm going to say, okay, what fraction of the shape is that? Well, that's 1 out of 3, so that's 1/3. So you're going to lift up the flap. Oh, did I get it correct? Did the shape match? It did. So I got it correctly. So you can play this at home with your family or your friends. You guys can fold this, okay? Abby, I see you. You got this. Don't think you can't, because you can. So I'll see you guys all next week. Have a great week, and if you have any questions, just let me know. Okay, bye.